Hey, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining me, Dorothea, on Through an Orthodox Christian Lens. This segment is going to be about my own country and my gripes with it, basically. I'm not feeling very much for my country, unfortunately. First off, I'm just going to go over some issues going on in my country. First, I want to start with this one big, beautiful bill that was supposedly, this great thing that's been passed. And there's the good and the bad in it and all that, but it seems to be mostly about tax cuts and then cuts in certain programs like Medicaid and SNAP. But then there's an increase in the debt ceiling, but then they're saying which is necessary to avoid a government default. Military and border security, and yes, and the amount that we're spending on the military is outrageous, higher than any other former president. And this aspect of the bill has been criticized for potentially increasing the national deficit by 2.3 trillion over the next decade. The economic impact. So it says has projected that the bill could add 150 billion in defense spending and significantly increase the national deficit. I think it's more than that. I think it's like going to reach $1 trillion is what I heard for the military budget. Critics argue that this could lead to further economic suffering, particularly for low-income families who may face higher food prices due to tariffs and reduced access to government assistance programs. So my oldest son is on Medicaid, so that's an important thing for us. And let me just say, my son is on Medicaid. He has a lot of, because of his dad, we were, his dad and my ex-husband is an abuser, emotional, psychological, spiritual, and for him, my older son, physical abuse, not all the time, but at times he was, but mostly he basically gaslit him and us, and it was a lot of mess. In any case, he has a lot of issues with PTSD, and he's high functioning autistic, and so he had depression and a lot of things that he's dealing with. So he goes to therapy, and thankfully through Medicaid he doesn't have to pay a lot of money for that. But in any case, so hopefully, I don't want to say anything on this bill because I think, yes, the good and bad, but to me, it remains to be seen what actually happens. I'm not really too optimistic, especially since we know Orthodox prophecies show that we're going to be going into a deep recession. I've even heard some people saying maybe something like the Depression. In any case, that's just economists and stuff, but I'm saying Orthodox prophecies say America is not going to be in good shape either, economically. Yeah, as far as the tariffs they bring up, I was open-minded to the tariffs, and I like the idea of manufacturing in our country instead of having to go to other countries. But the problem is, I think the big mistake Trump made is trying to put out these tariffs before you have the factories made, built, and up and running, so that that most people don't have to get their things from different countries like China. Larry Johnson was saying on one of the shows he was interviewed on today, he said it's anecdotal, but he has a neighbor who owns a sports shop, so sports equipment, and he gets his sports equipment, such as, like he said, like baseball bats, hockey sticks, and stuff like that, from China. And there was $150,000 because of the tariffs, and they didn't account for that, and so they're getting hit hard. So I think the big mistake was starting this tariff thing before we even had our factories up to get them up and running and doing things to produce things in America. Everything is messed up right now, in my opinion. Everything is just a mess. And to go on from there, Trump's post here was, as usual, bullying. Any country aligning themselves with the anti-American policies of BRICS will be charged an additional 10% tariff. There will be no exceptions to this policy. As Colonel McGregor said today, it's too late. BRICS is out. They have 20 members now, from what I heard. And a lot of people are joining because they're tired of being under the thumb of U.S. sanctions and bullying. And I'll never forget when McGregor said there's three policies used in this country, in America, government. The 3 B's: bribing, bullying, and bombing. Yep, that's about right. Then, so he's saying all this that's not helping anything. Then you have the FBI, in conjunction with the Department of Justice, has concluded its review of the Jeffrey Epstein case and found no evidence supporting long-standing conspiracy theories surrounding the disgraced financier. According to a memo released on July 7, 2025, the FBI confirmed that Epstein died by suicide in his prison cell in 2019, and that there is no credible evidence of a so-called client list that could implicate prominent individuals in his crimes. Well, this is just totally false, because everybody, look, Bondi said that the client list was on her desk just a few months ago. And now, it doesn't exist. So, they're going to say, so if that doesn't exist, there is no client. There are no clients. None of them exist. So, never mind the victims. Who cares about the victims, right? Who cares? Who cares? That's what it's come to. And I'm going to play this. As soon as I can find it, I'm just going to play this tiny little part that Larry says that I could totally relate to.
Became aware that the United States was not at all interested in, it's like if you said, hey, I want to be your friend Nima, or actually, you want to be my friend. And yet I'm spending all my time figuring out how I can steal from you, how I can hurt you, how I can take things from you. Who wants to be in a friendly relationship with someone like that? I'd be a despicable person. And, people get mad and say, oh, why do you hate America? I do despise what we have become, what we are right now, because we are not a country that is genuinely interested in enriching others and making others successful and making others better and making others healthy. It's all about us and our consumer lust that we want to control and dominate and dictate.
Yes, that's exactly how I feel. Exactly how I feel. And I feel like he was spot on. I feel like Larry Johnson's spot on. That's exactly how I feel. And
And
oops, he's back on.
that's so psychologically unhealthy.
Yeah, well, I agree with that as well. So, yeah, there really isn't much to be proud of right now, in my opinion, of my own country. Call me anti-American, call me whatever. I don't care. It's just the way I feel about it. And then you have so much ignorance about history and what's going on. What has been going on. I don't know if people just are not paying attention, not learning anything, but this X post, okay? So people are complaining over Tucker Carlson interviewing the president of Iran, which I watched, and I wasn't too surprised of what the president of Iran said. His explanation about death to America, what that meant, it sounds to me, as Danny Davis said, is more like, oh, that's, what am I trying to say? Death to America's policies. Well, that could be. We don't know if he's telling the truth or not. But it's definitely true that Netanyahu is trying to push and drag the U.S. into forever wars for Israel. So this person posts this. We're waiting for Tucker Carlson's upcoming second interview with bin Laden, as in, let's hear the other side too. Well, I hate to break this to this guy who seems to be completely ignorant on journalism and how that works. Some journalists, reporters have already did interview bin Laden years and years ago. 20 to 25 years ago. Well, actually, at this point, probably closer to 30 years ago. But perhaps this person is just too young and doesn't know that. But I recall it was a CNN reporter, and so I looked it up, and yes, I was correct. Peter Bergen, a CNN national security analyst and journalist, produced the first television interview with Osama bin Laden in 1997. This interview was conducted by Bergen, CNN war correspondent Peter Arnett, and photographer Peter... Boy, that's all Peters in there. Peter Jovenel. The interview became one of the most compelling television moments in history, especially after the 9/11 attacks in 2001. Yes. So that's what journalists and reporters actually really do. They actually do interview people who may be adversarial, or adversaries, or controversial. That was what I grew up with. I saw that all the time. I saw that in 60 Minutes. Saw that with Barbara Walters. She interviewed all kinds of people that we didn't expect that we would interview. Today, it's people don't really understand how journalism was originally supposed to be. That is my opinion. I mean, I couldn't believe the ignorance. I'm reading these things, and these people have no clue. In any case, so you have the bullying still going on, and trying to punish people who don't use the dollar. And can you blame them with all the sanctions and hurting their countries and the bombings in certain countries and how we took down, for example, even Libya, it was trying to become more democratic, and Gaddafi was going to go to gold, and no, we can't have that. You have to stay at the dollar, and then he ends up getting murdered. So we have that going on. We have blood on our hands all over the place. And then we have the Epstein things. They're just going to brush that to the side and not hold any other person accountable, because there's a whole list of people, and just going to allow no real great justice for the victims, and just going to allow that to continue playing. Plus the fact that every time Trump brings up Gaza, he just says, "Oh well, we gotta come up with a deal. We got to make this a great area to live and all this stuff." But he doesn't say quit the murder, quit the killing, the genocide, the ethnic cleansing. He kind of skirts around, or he just does not point blank say that. And to me, this is not the way to go to on the road to repentance, which is required for all of our sins, and there's many of them. And that's not going to lessen the catastrophes that are going to be happening in this world war, especially in America. The economic fall, the banks lockdown, the tsunamis on the east and west coast, the San Andreas Fault. You know, part of this, the country is going to be in the underwater. The Civil War, the protests before this happens, and then, you know, nature is going to answer. Nature is going to rebel. Nature is going to say, we have had enough. Because, as my son said, is nature always has to balance what's been ruined. And so, and there's so many things wrong in this world. And I think I went over a little bit of it in this country, but I mean, it's not just here, but I'm talking about my country today in this segment. It's disgraceful. I'm not saying the world was perfect when I was growing up, because still had not great things going on then. However, the satanic and evil stuff going on was not as in your face exposed as it is now, and I don't think it was quite as bad, but it did have bad things going on then. Don't get me wrong. In the 70s, there were other things going on. However, I don't think it really felt like we've ever had to pay for all of the sins that we've done. Well, I say just continue praying for God's mercy and that He lessens what's to come, because it ain't happening with our government. It's terrible. So anyway, this was kind of a rant segment for me, but I wanted to share my thoughts in any case. Thanks so much for watching. Please follow, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Like my videos if you like them. You can follow me on Rumble as well. Share my videos, my YouTube videos, get them out so other people can watch if they have interest, you know. I don't know what you all are interested in, but in any case, it's late here. I just want to get this out. I'm sorry it's so late. I had other things going on. It is July 7th. I didn't say that, 2025. So Monday evening. I hope you all had a great Monday, and perhaps it's already Tuesday for you, Tuesday morning, or it's an afternoon. Who knows what if you're somewhere else in the world watching this. I appreciate your support and that you continue to return to my videos and watch them. I really appreciate it, and I hope you have a blessed night. Until next time.